Hey, it's sexuality empowerment coach Heather Elizabeth, and I've been having really interesting conversations this week with a whole bunch of different people about dating and how people are actually feeling really unempowered when it comes to dating, and they're even using language like afraid and scared. So I thought what I would do today would be to give you guys 3 tips for ways you can take your power back when it comes to dating and really date from a place of empowerment and feeling good about yourselves. So the whole thing is less stressful and you can start enjoying the fun, flirty connection building, seeing if relationships are a good fit for you, and leave some of the stress of dating behind. But before we get into that, if you haven't watched my Enough versus Enough video, I'm going to link it right here. It's just like 4 minutes. Won't take much time, but it's really important to know the difference between abundance and scarcity and how that impacts your love life and your dating life and your sex life and all those things. So take the 4 minutes, watch it, and then come back here, okay? So first thing you can do to take your power back in dating is be yourself. And I get that that might sound really cheesy, especially if you're a person who got the message growing up that yourself wasn't good enough. And that's something you've internalized to your adulthood. You know, maybe that you weren't sexy enough, you weren't cool enough, you weren't witty enough. Any of those things, it is super easy to pick that message up in childhood because, you know, growing up is rough for a lot of people. But I promise you, there are more people out there and more potential connections than you ever imagined growing up. And there are people out there who like you just for you. But when you're busy hiding yourself and trying to follow some game or script because you read it on the internet as a, you know, as the thing to do to pick up partners, you're not letting people see you. And that means you're not letting the people who baseline find you attractive see you. So be yourself. It's gonna help you connect to the people you actually want to connect with and make your dating experience go so much better. Number 2, actually care about what the other person wants. When you're off running your scripts and working on your plan for the date because you think, you know, it's date number 2, this should happen now, or we've been out on 5 dates, this should go this way, you're completely cutting the other person out of the loop. And when you do that, you can't connect to them. And connecting to people is actually what forms bonds and what establishes relationships and what builds on connection, builds on more connection. So every step of the way, care about the other person, care about their buy-in, care about what they want. Make sure you're not getting so lost in your own head that you're ignoring the other person, because when you do that, you cut off the connection at the knees and nothing can build. Number 3, be upfront about who's going to set the sexual pace. That is something that causes so much anxiety for people because I get it. Sex is a really big deal. This is why I do the work I do. Sex is a big deal in people's lives. But when it's causing us anxiety and stress, it's hard to focus on anything else. So just have a quick conversation about what you want, what your expectations are, what you'd like, and what the other person wants. And I know some of you are already thinking that's completely unsexy, but it doesn't have to be. And the more you practice and the more you start having these conversations, the smoother it'll go each time, the more natural it'll feel each time, the more comfortable you'll be saying it each time. And when I say have a conversation, I don't mean pause everything, sit them down and be like, we have to talk about the sexual pace of this relationship. I mean, just let the other person know where they're at so you can relieve, you know, your anxiety about how things are going, and I bet you'll relieve some of their anxiety about trying to guess where you're at. So there are 2 ways you can do this. If you want to set the pace, something simple like, I really, really want to kiss you. And whenever you're a yes, just let me know. That took, what, 30 seconds? And it did 2 things. It let my partner know where I was at, that I was really interested in kissing them. So now they don't have to fear rejection. They don't have to worry about whether or not I'm into it. And if they try and kiss me, are they going to be seen as creepy or aggressive? No, they know where I'm at. Number 2, it showed that I care about where they're at by checking in to see if they wanted to do it or not, right? So I gave them the power to say yes or no. If you want to let them set the sexual pace, it's a remarkably similar conversation. It just gets flipped a little bit. So instead, I would say something like, just so you know, I'm really interested in you, and I'd really like to get to some sexy times tonight. But I'm going to let you make the first move on that. So whenever you're ready, I'm a yes for a whole bunch of stuff, and I'd love to talk more about that with you. And that's if you want to be general about it and you don't really know what you want, but you want to explore. If I wanted to be more specific, then I use a specific. I'd say something like, just so you know, I'm super down for kissing you anytime you're ready. And that lets them make the first move. And then we all know where everybody's at. And again, I've taken away the risk of rejection. And number two, I've given them some power around whether or not it happens. So there you go. 3 things you can do. I hope you go out and I hope you put them into practice. And feel free to let me know how it goes for you. You can always reach out to me. My website's AuthenticSexualYou.com and my email is heather@AuthenticSexualYou.com. Or you can comment below and I'll write you right back. Talk to you soon.